Well, I was surprised one day to look up and see these, what I thought were contrails from jet planes. We do know that they do have an exhaust, and you can see the exhaust. It might last about 15 or 18 seconds. But this was something new. First of all, it lasted for an hour or more. And then it also was quite broad. And if you looked at it carefully, you can see it dripping. It's like a liquid dripping off of it. But actually, I didn't really know what it was until someone mentioned to me that these were not contrails, they were chemtrails. Chemtrail was a name given to them because they thought it had chemicals in it.
The trails that persist that I've seen over the last few years are very different to any trails that I've ever seen before, and I do not understand how they persist so long. It's normally a contrail would last 1 or 2 minutes or maybe 5 minutes, but to look up into the sky and see a trail slowly drift by for an hour is very unusual.
The thing which really aroused my suspicion the most was when I was sat working at my computer quite late in the evening, as I often do, and I saw a grid in the sky, a grid of trails, almost perfectly square. How can you get a grid of trails in such a short space of time? These trails and this grid were formed in a period of about 15 minutes, I would say. And to have that much air traffic, in other words, 4 aircraft coming directly over my house in 15 minutes, does not happen.
I am concerned about the chemtrails. The main difference is that these kind of trails, they remain in the sky for a very long period of time, hours, or in some cases even for a whole day.
We've also now started to observe chemtrails with apparent shadows, black chemtrails. We also see them from space. We can see them on satellite pictures. Aircraft trails should not be visible on satellite pictures.
La fréquence, elle est complètement aléatoire. En fait, c'est vraiment très souvent, presque tous les jours. Mais il y a des jours sans, Dieu merci.
Almeno per quanto riguarda l'ultimo anno, le operazioni di aerosol sono diventate una costante. Se fino a qualche anno fa era un'eccezione una giornata con le cosiddette scie chimiche, adesso è il contrario. Quindi normalmente abbiamo delle giornate che sono prive assolutamente di qualsiasi tipo di attività di irrorazione. Le possiamo contare queste giornate 3-4 giornate al mese se siamo ottimisti, altrimenti anche meno. Effettivamente quando arriviamo alle 9-10 di mattina già si cominciano a veder passare i primi aerei e nell'arco di poche ore il cielo è completamente coperto da uno strato uniforme che oscura il sole. Quindi è una costante ormai non avere più delle giornate di sole vero, ma delle giornate semi-oscurate o oscurate completamente. Tant'è che alcune volte all'1 del pomeriggio i lampioni della strada sono accesi. Questo indica che comunque la luminosità è tale da far accendere i lampioni delle strade automaticamente per via dell'oscurità.
If you look at the phenomenon in general, you cannot explain it by just burning fuels by aircraft and temperature and humidity of the air. Those contrails cannot last long. So any persistent contrail must have other explanations.
As a scientist, I have no doubt at all that there is a comparison between chemtrails and contrails. They are two entirely different phenomena.
Nous avons filmé ces chemtrails en Provence. Difficile de croire qu'à cet endroit et à cette altitude, ce sont des avions de ligne qui sont responsables de ces traces rapprochées perdurant des heures.
Some scientists with whom we have been collaborating through correspondence, they have told us that in the universities in the United States, they have carried out these kind of experiments, that they either sent small planes and collected the samples from the air, and then they analyzed them. They found in high percentage quantities of aluminum and barium, which we know that they have this kind of effects to the human health and also to the environment.
Het gaat over chemische producten, ethyleen, dibromide, mycoplasma, schimmels enzovoort, en over virologische producten.
Sono state fatte delle analisi, certo, sia in Italia sia all'estero sono disponibili anche attraverso la visualizzazione del nostro sito, del nostro blog e siti collegati, analisi chimiche che sono state fatte sia per il terreno, sia sulle piante, sia nell'aria, analisi che evidenziano la presenza dei metalli di cui ho parlato prima.
Pour en avoir le cœur net, nous prélevons des échantillons de sol dans 3 parcs et jardins parisiens pour les faire analyser par un laboratoire spécialisé. Les résultats arrivent quelques jours plus tard. Il y a bien du barium et de l'aluminium dans les bacs à sable de Paris.
Dus dit alles komt in de atmosfeer, daalt neer op de aarde en beïnvloedt ons allemaal. Je ziet overal de ziektes toenemen. We zijn nog nooit zo ongezond geweest als nu. Doodziek zijn we.
Quite a number of people, after they have observed the chemtrails, they claim that they suffer from headaches, dizziness for days. Some of them, they had also problems with the skin, like other allergies, and some of them, they were feeling weak and tired for more than a week.
Les conséquences sur la santé sont obligatoirement néfastes parce qu'il y a des chlorures, il y a des sulfates de barium, il y aurait des sels d'aluminium, il y aurait des sulfates de fer. Donc tout ça ne peut pas beaucoup cohabiter avec la nature. Donc on mange des aliments forcément souillés par ces sels. Et à long terme, il y aura un effet sur la santé, inévitable.
En nogmaals, als men ziet welke ziekten er zijn, van ademhaling, van Alzheimer, Parkinson, multiple sclerose, ADHD, autisme, kanker, ongelooflijk. In Vlaanderen mag 30 tot 40% van de bewoning zich voorbereiden op een toekomst als kankerprocent. Dit is bijna 1 op 2. 1 op 2. Op basis van het feitenmateriaal wordt het met de dag duidelijker dat het militaire establishment de werkelijke verantwoordelijken zijn voor deze chemtrails. Zij hebben de vliegtuigen, zij hebben de middelen, zij hebben de organisatie en zij hebben ook de plannen daartoe. Dus dit is heel duidelijk aan het worden.
Si les militaires répandent, entre autres, du barium, ils doivent forcément l'acheter quelque part. Nous avons l'idée de visiter le site internet des marchés publics de la défense nationale en France. Après quelques recherches, la chance nous sourit. Nous trouvons un appel d'offres de la Direction générale de l'armement pour 10 tonnes de sulfate de barium. À quoi peut bien leur servir une telle quantité? À la déverser dans l'atmosphère? Nous retournerons sur le site quelques semaines plus tard. L'annonce a disparu depuis notre visite. Bizarre. Les militaires ont-ils quelque chose à cacher? Et les chemtrails sont-ils un canular, comme le prétend l'US Air Force dans une brochure officielle?
If military say that this is a hoax, they could be right. I don't think so. I think it is a real phenomenon, and I think we should discuss it. Of course, if I were involved in this experiment and I had the intention of not letting everybody in on the experiments, I would also say that this was a hoax. But I'm not convinced.
Ik heb een vriend die gedurende jaren met F-16 gevlogen heeft, dus een militair toestel, die nu in de burgerluchtvaart zit, die dus duizenden uren in de lucht gevlogen heeft. En die zegt, ni vu, ni connu, ik weet niet waarover u het hebt. En bijna alle piloten zeggen, we weten niet wat chemtrails zijn. Er is voor ons echt geen vuiltje aan de lucht.
Now, some information has been leaking out. Some of it is, there's always a propaganda. The military has a way of telling you they're doing something good. And so one of the explanations for this is that it's a counter to global warming, and that by putting metals into the air, they can reflect the sun's rays upwards and away from the earth. And so this is an effort to cool the earth. It doesn't make much sense mathematically if you look at the surface of the air over a city, and these little lines are not going to reflect very much sun back. So I really don't buy that.
Donc toute la chaîne de vie sur Terre, les animaux, les humains, les plantes, les arbres, les insectes, tout le monde est touché, et sans distinction.